Hey game lover, this is Sunny here. Welcome to Now Gaming Time. Today's games have insanely realistic graphics with more to come in the years 2023 and beyond. Video game publishers are trying to make more immersive games, and we see many realistic graphics games each year. Most of it can be owed to the big budget games using motion capture technology to bring each character closer to real life. So today we've made a list of the 20 most realistic graphics games you can play in the upcoming years. This is the second installment of a multi-part series. So if you're a fan of realistic graphics games, take a look at this list of mesmerizing games. Well, first of all, we'll talk about Night Crows, which is described as a high-quality MMORPG with photorealistic graphics. The developers call the main feature of the novelty large-scale PvP battles on the ground and in the air with the participation of 1,000 players. The action will unfold in a fantasy world inspired by the medieval Europe. The project is being developed on Unreal Engine 5 and is preparing for release in April 2023. If you are a fan of the Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro, the game is definitely for you. Project The Perceiver is an open-world action game with Chinese cultural inspirations. Based on the Lao Zhuang canon, the game explores clashing beliefs in a fantasy world. Experience a chaos-ridden world and meet a variety of characters as the Master Veritas. Consolidate their distinctive ideals into masks and engage in the fiercest battles.
唐已经灭了。天下易主，救星不存，你还能为何而战？大唐之命系于斯民，人在则唐不灭。 天下是苍生的天下，梁还是唐，这两个字重要吗？大唐福泽万年，逆贼杀戮无道，如何相提并论？一将功成万骨枯，总有人要在阴影里背负罪孽。 你那戏里的唐，真是你心中所念的唐吗？
Silent Hill fans were given more than they bargained for in October 2022. Konami hosted a Silent Hill showcase where they revealed not just 1 but 4 games in the works. Out of all those announcements, the one that many consider the most exciting is the mysteriously titled Silent Hill F. Unlike previous games in the series, it will not be set in the titular town but instead in 1960s rural Japan. ArcheAge 2 is the upcoming sequel to ArcheAge, the popular free-to-play MMORPG from Kakao Games and Excel Games. ArcheAge 2 will be developed in Unreal Engine 5, which will allow for more visually stunning graphics and environments. The lore and story for the ArcheAge 2 will be written by Jeon-min Hee, who also wrote the story for the original ArcheAge. The sequel will be a prequel set 2000 years before the original game, giving the developers some more room to develop the world and the lore to feed ArcheAge 2. Well, Project LLL is an open-world, massively multiplayer online third-person shooter game developed and published by NCSoft. The game simulates the feeling of striking your target by adding a unique tension to the character and enemy motions. Players will be able to travel through a sizable environment that is populated by monsters, troops, and war robots. The unannounced project has released the Nhaga, a visual concept trailer based on the acclaimed Korean fantasy novel The Bird That Drinks Tears. The trailer was inspired by the concept art of design director Ian McCaig and the team Windless using Unreal Engine 5. The team has spent over 2 years on building character and worldview on the artwork.
I could not realize at first what was coming for me. What would happen to me. Their memories fade, but the pain lingers. Necks severed, bodies ripped apart. This nightmare will haunt me for eternity. Heartless beings like yourselves could never know my agony. My torment when she mourned before my eyes. Body torn into pieces.
Okay, let's talk about Where Winds Meet is an open-world action RPG that takes us to a fantasy version of China at the end of the 10th century. In Where Winds Meet, we take on the role of a swordsman traversing the world and facing enemies as he searches for a place for himself in a land in conflict. Using skills from various martial arts schools, it's up to you to build your own combat style and survive. S.T.A.L.K.E.R is making a return with the promise of being one of the biggest seamless open worlds to date. A blend of horror, FPS and atmospheric theme, it's also said to have an epic story with multiple endings and awesome stuffs. The latest gameplay shows a staggeringly beautiful view of a horrific world. You'll have over 30 weapons at your disposal to deal with all manner of horrifying mutated monsters, and there's a multiplayer too.
Ну не знаю. Между аномалией и маслиной я уже лучше пулю выберу.
Ты говоришь.
Shadow of Conspiracy Section 2 is a science fiction detective thriller action RPG with shooter and stealth game elements. In this game, we find ourselves in futuristic Berlin, and our task is to unravel the mystery of police chief's murder. Game features top quality graphics, runs on Unreal Engine 5. Off the Grid is a third-person shooter from developer Gunzilla Games that aims to infuse the battle royale formula with a hefty dose of narrative progression. Set in a dystopian future, its battles see 150 players facing each other in a PvP while also being able to take on storyline-focused PvE missions as the match goes on, controlling how the game story unfolds.
And that is a sweet arm.
Keep your eyes on the target, Slick!
Oh, I am.
We gotta get out of here. Shit! Here they come!
For fuck's sakes.
Storm! Take them out! Grant, you're with me! Drop! You get in there! Follow me!
Marvel's Wolverine is an action-adventure game set in the Marvel's comic universe. Its protagonist is Wolverine, the most popular member of X-Men team and one of the world's most recognizable superheroes. The game, which was designed for PlayStation 5. The 5th edition of the best-selling science fiction action RPG series launched in 2007. As with all the previous parts of the series, the game called The Next Mass Effect was developed by the BioWare studio. The next Mass Effect games look said to be a follow-up to the original Mass Effect trilogy, which are often counted among the best RPGs around. BioWare also recently committed to it being a single-player experience like those that came before it. State of Decay 3 is another part of the most anticipated survival action game in an open, post-apocalyptic world full of zombies. We still don't have a lot of details on what State of Decay 3 will look like, but we've been stealthily searching the wasteland for any news we can find, and we will share in the future. The Day Before is a realistic graphic open-world MMO survival set in a deadly, post-pandemic America overrun by flesh-hungry infected and survivors killing each other for food, weapons and cars. Survive at all costs. Search abandoned vehicles, houses and skyscrapers as you scavenge for resources. The Day Before is switching to Unreal Engine 5 and they've announced that it is launching on March 1st, 2023.
아니, 이곳의 주민들은
Stellar is a third-person action RPG inspired by such hits as Nier Automata and God of War.
어둠뿐이지.
The character action gameplay of Stellar Blade pits Eve against massive bosses, challenging players to input precise timing to deflect attacks and carry out devastating combos. Eve can use a combination of melee and ranged weapons, and her beta skills and burst skills will help even the odds against powerful foes.
이 레거시는 믿을 수 없어요. 그렇죠? 그렇다고 말해줘요.
여기 있는 누구나 그 손길이 닿은 적은 없어. 모두 버려진 거야.
그건 신상 모독이에요. 릴리, 부탁해. 난 이러기 위해 태어난 거야. 이렇게 된 이상 나도 몰라요.
고용의 천사여, 이번에는 우리를 구원할 수 있겠는가?
Fate of Danschant Hereafter is an action RPG inspired by Chinese mythology. Developed by Beijing Joyfun, it's a sequel to the 2017 RPG Fate of Danschant, featuring Chinese martial arts and sword fighting, but now with a real-time action RPG combat system for even more thrilling and complex battles.
What happened to the guards? Rest in peace. These damn demons.
Don't worry about me. Just get out of here. Hey, I can still fight on. Great, you're here. No.
6 Days in Fallujah is a first-person tactical shooter that recreates true stories of Marines, soldiers and Iraqi civilians during the toughest urban battle since 1968. Lead a fire team through real events from the battle. Each mission is narrated by a real person while you experience these same moments as if you were them.
Suppressing fire!
That was the go command. One tap issues orders to your team based on what you're pointing at. Pin enemies in place with suppressive fire while you flank.
Hold your fire!
Well, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is a follow-up of 2017's fantastic Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, a psychological action-adventure with a rich and dark story that was essentially a dive into insanity of Viking hell. The first game was utterly sublime, so we're expecting more of the same from the sequel.
Is your sacrifice to make, to lead others to death, brings a different kind of burden. One that Senua would have to learn to bear.
smell their fear.
He's here. Death is coming.
Look at the bones.
Death is coming.
Look at the bones. That's going to be you. That's going to be everyone. No one's ever killed a giant. What makes you think you can stay down?
Those whose eyes are clouded by fear are besieged by the ghosts that haunt them. Senua saw that to win the war we must break this siege. Break it with an unshakable truth. Break it with an impossible feat.
Get ready. It's about to start. Get ready. Get ready.
You can do this.
First the iron, then the fire. Yes. Yes.
Yes!
Well, now let's talk about Starfield, a space-based role-playing game made by the same well-known team that made the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. The gameplay for this huge Game Pass title was shown earlier this year, giving us an idea of what to expect. Built on an improved engine, the Creation Engine 2, the game shows clear strides over Fallout 4 and other previous titles. Space travel, world building, rendering technology and more are all covered. Starfield is gonna be one of the biggest games of 2023.
Hey, there you are. We've got company. Opening fire. Take that guy down, huh? Hold back.
Assassin's Creed Mirage is an upcoming action-adventure open-world single-player game. In Assassin's Creed Mirage, you play as Basim, a smart street thief who moves through the busy streets of Baghdad in 9th century looking for answers and justice. Explore an incredibly vibrant city and uncover the secrets of 4 unique districts as you venture through the golden age of Baghdad.
Ready to sacrifice everything you held close.
I am.
Are you ready to leave your life behind and walk the path of shadows?
I am.
Okay, lastly, let's talk about Final Fantasy XVI is the 16th main part of the bestseller series Japanese RPGs, published by Square Enix. Final Fantasy XVI brings players into a world where icons are powerful and deadly creatures that reside within dominance, a single man or woman who is blessed with the ability to call upon their dreaded power.
There will be losses, it is true. Yet for every citizen who falls, another can be bred. For every home that burns, another can be built. The Empire will live on.